Next on Worcester News tonight, how to prep your car for the elements, the problems many drivers are running into in the cold. Plus, a new effort to control trash issues in the city will be presented at tonight's council meeting. A look at what the city manager is suggesting. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Olivia Lemon. Icy and cold today, but warmer than Monday, and temperatures are expected to warm up a little more, which could mean potential flooding is in the forecast. For more, let's send it over to meteorologist Tim Kelly.
Yeah, today at the airport we made it to 22 degrees, 21 degrees warmer than yesterday, and we're going to add close to another 20 tomorrow. We have a front with snow and rain mixed over the Great Lakes. That front's going to lift to the north. The cold high-pressure system off to the south sends in a less cold wind from the southwest tomorrow. Most of the snow and ice is going to stay west of us during the day tomorrow. So a quiet night tonight, nice big moon, couple days past full. And it is cold outside once again, especially early this evening with some radiational cooling. But I think temperatures are actually going to come up late tonight with a breeze picking up from the southwest. So we're going to go to bed with a temperature around 15, wake up to a temperature around 20 degrees. A lot of clouds in the sky, maybe a sunny break tomorrow. We're going past freezing. Things are melting tomorrow, 1:30 in the afternoon. It's 35 to 40. There's a mixture of snow, sleet, and rain in Vermont. It's going to be warm enough that when that precipitation gets here tomorrow night, it's going to be in the form of rain. Temperatures stay above freezing. That's a thaw. Heavy rain Thursday may result in localized flooding. Come back with more details in a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Tim. And slick roads remain in some parts of Worcester even 2 days after the storm. The city's DPW says there is less salt on side streets, so the snow and ice will take longer to melt. The city's public schools had a 2-hour delay along with some additional weather-related issues on Tuesday. Our Chandler Walsh joins us live now with the details. Chandler.
Olivia, Worcester Public Schools students enjoyed a long holiday weekend made longer by today's delay. For some, school was delayed even further from late buses. We're here at the district's bus contractor, Durham School Services, and they say it was due to messy roads. Side streets are coated in snow and ice in some areas in Worcester. DPW Commissioner Paul Moosey says it takes longer for the snow to melt here because of the way the city treats the roads.
The main lines get the most salt. They're the ones that we want to get to bare pavement the soonest. The side streets, you know, they're sanded well, but there's not a lot of salt, so the melting takes a little longer.
The freezing temperatures caused a 2-hour delay at Worcester Public Schools Tuesday.
Initially, we were going to try to start for a regular start, but then we looked at the latest weather report last night around 6 and saw that with the wind chill that it was going to get below minus 22, so we said we can't have that.
School delayed even further for some families waiting at a few bus stops. Superintendent Maureen Benenda says 5 of Worcester's buses were running up to 25 minutes late from the winter weather.
Some of the buses, were the way they were in the bus yard, were kind of a little stuck in the snowbank for a little bit. So it took a little while to get them out.
The district's bus contractor says they've been preparing the buses by starting them a day early and using a fuel additive to avoid freezing. In a statement, Durham School Services says they experienced delays due to road conditions. Dave Fairbow feels lucky his children didn't have to wait longer for their bus Tuesday morning. He made sure they were bundled up and says standing in the cold for a few minutes is enough.
I feel my hands already freezing cold and my toes. I think I just saw the bus come by, so it shouldn't be too much longer.
A warm-up on the way will help clean the roads. Moosey says temperatures in the negatives make it difficult for the salt to do its job melting snow.
And the salt that is out there, it's going to start being more effective now that the temperature's coming up.
The DPW is now focusing their efforts on city catch basins. Moosey says with warm weather and rain coming, they're concerned about flooding. They've been going around throughout the day clearing and de-thawing catch basins and advise anyone who has one near their home to make sure it's cleared off. Live in Worcester, Chandler Walsh, Worcester News Tonight.
And driving in today's cold temperatures can also be difficult. Snow stuck in tires can cause issues, and the cold can affect car batteries. So auto shops are reminding people how to prep your car for winter. Our Brittany Schaefer joins us live now with more. Brittany?
Olivia, the most common call Ramstrom Service Center has had in the past few days is shaking vehicles. They say to avoid this issue, to just chip away at ice stuck in tires, and you'll have no problem.
Ramstrom Service Center, Derek speaking.
The cold weather and recent snow is keeping the phone lines busy at auto shops like Ramstrom Service Center.
It's been very busy. So the cold weather always has problems. People have problems with their batteries, windshield wipers, a lot of complaints with shaking because of the ice packed in the wheels.
Manager Derek Ramstrom says since the snowstorm, they've received dozens of calls of shaking vehicles. He says while it's an easy fix, it can be dangerous if it's not taken care of.
A lot of times people don't understand that the snow gets packed in and it only takes a few ounces to throw off the balance of the tire. So it can feel like a violent shake, like your tire's falling off.
The frigid cold temperatures gave construction company owner Nick DiPilato some trouble Tuesday morning.
I just basically got it here going 24 miles an hour.
He says it's unfortunately common when the temperatures dip below zero.
Truck wouldn't start because I think that the fuel filter is frozen or the line of the diesel truck is frozen. Just too cold.
Another common issue during the winter is losing air pressure in tires. And for Justin LeBlanc, he's already had multiple flats this year.
The cold air definitely took the air out of it. And from, I'd say like a 2-mile drive, I noticed my tire was half flat.
Ramstrom says a major hazard which can lead to substantial damage is when drivers leave snow on top of their vehicle.
People don't realize how heavy that is, and at high rates of speed, I mean, it can cause accidents, it can damage your windshields, it can slide down in front of your windshield, and then you can't see where you're going, so it can cause all kinds of problems.
Now, Ramstrom says also to avoid any issues during these cold temperatures, to make sure that you fill your liquids because they can thicken during these cold temperatures. Live in Worcester, Brittany Schaefer, Worcester News Tonight.
Fire departments are asking for your help digging out hydrants following Sunday's winter storm. Auburn Lieutenant Stephen Lemire says hydrants should have no less than 3 to 4 feet of clearance on each side. He says although this was our first major storm of the season, it involved ice, sleet, and freezing rain, so snow was compacted down. He says it's best not to procrastinate when it comes to clearing hydrants.
Like a couple years ago when we had that 105 or 110 inches of snow, we were having a hard time locating the hydrant. So the sooner you can clean them out, the better off it is, not only for us, but for the residents in town.
And many communities like Worcester also have sidewalk snow removal ordinances. City residents and businesses must clear and treat sidewalks in front of their property within 10 hours of the storm's end. In an effort to combat trash and litter in Worcester, City Manager Ed Augustus is suggesting a new trash program at tonight's City Council meeting. The 8-point proposal would be paid for with a 50-cent increase in the cost of each yellow city trash bag. Augustus says the biggest change will be using clear plastic drawstring bags for recycling instead of open containers. And during a time when people are looking to ban plastic bags, he says these will be recyclable.
When the bags are broken at the recycling station, they will be then baled together and they'll be turned into future recycling bags. So the bags that people get for recycling will be made of previously used recyclable bags. So we're not adding to the number of bags. They will continually be recycled and part of the process.
And the plan also includes keeping transfer stations open later and reducing the cost of disposing bulk items. As more retail marijuana shops open in Massachusetts, Cultivate Holdings in Leicester is lifting its self-imposed purchase limits on weekdays. When Cultivate first opened, people were waiting in line for hours. The business limited what customers could purchase to help reduce wait times. They are now allowing people to purchase the state's legal limit on weekdays, but will continue their limit on weekends, where there are still sometimes seeing wait times up to 3 hours. The state's legal limit is 1 ounce of marijuana or 5 grams of marijuana concentrate. The latest proposal to end the government shutdown looks to be going nowhere. Democrats appear increasingly unlikely to sign off on President Trump's proposed immigration deal. It would trade $5.7 billion in wall funding for 3 years of legal protections for some immigrants and refugees. The proposal will be voted on later this week. It needs 7 Democrats to break a filibuster in the Senate, and it's receiving icy reception so far. Meanwhile, government workers who are furloughed or working without pay are struggling.
It is very humiliating to one day go from spending $300 at BJ's to having to rely on public assistance.
And this week, a huge group of IRS employees are back on the job working for free to process tax returns. Senator Elizabeth Warren visiting Puerto Rico as part of her presidential exploratory committee. The senator is visiting the territory today. She's there to get a firsthand look at the island's road to recovery after it was devastated by Hurricanes Irma and Maria. Yesterday, Senator Warren wrote a letter to 2 federal agencies asking about reports that the Trump administration was not properly distributing relief money to Puerto Rico. The senator asked both agencies to answer her questions by February 5th. The United Way of Central Massachusetts is celebrating its 99th birthday, handing out 99 balloons to community leaders and business partners in Worcester. President and CEO Tim Garvin says the United Way of Central Mass bylaws were accepted January 23, 1920. Tuesday, he stopped by the city manager's office to give him a balloon and free coffee pass to Birch Tree Bread Company. He says their partnership with Go Local allows them to hand out free items to people across the city.
Big donors, agency leaders, just to say, join with us, be part of our 99 years, and then think of the next 99. How can we continue to make a difference, to lift up lives, to strengthen community, and make this place great? Greatest friend.
And Wednesday marks the organization's official 99th birthday. Schools in the Blackstone Valley will be getting new technology and expanding programs thanks to a grant from the Baker-Pulido administration. The Blackstone Valley Education Hub provides a learning space for students unable to get into vocational schools. Jeannie Hebert says they're currently working with 2 satellite campuses at Uxbridge and Northbridge High Schools and say they plan to use the $125,000 grant towards workforce training. It will allow them to purchase more equipment fitting in with the curriculum they've developed.
We're going to be getting equipment such as virtual welders. Many of our manufacturers need trained welders, and a lot of remote equipment so that students can work on site, but they can also work from their schools with the students that are on site.
And the Baker-Pulido administration awarded more than $3 million in skills capital grants to high schools and educational institutions.